wars in the world will be through proxy wars. So it's not going to be at US na Russia wanatupiana mabombs. They'll use other countries, the smaller countries kama Kenya, since now we are a NATO ally. And I think one of my Kale brothers alikuwa na ringa hiyo like it's an accomplishment by Ruto. Ati now au kuona amefanya tukue na NATO ally. Nikasema unajisikia, do you think that's going to help us? And I was going through the resume and I was just wondering, like, she's worth $3 billion. So I'm saying, out of all the, see ati Kenya ni nchi mbaya, but out of all the ambassadors who have been there in Kenya, why would a 67-year-old woman who's worth $3 billion, who has been the CEO of Fortune 500 companies, want to go and be an ambassador back home? Akutaka France or something. Meg Whitman, I think I remember when I saw she was appointed to Kenya, and I looked through her resume and I was trying to figure out why would she want to go to be an ambassador in Kenya? Because she has gone to Princeton, she did an MBA in Harvard, she has been the CEO of eBay, she's been the CEO of HP, Hewlett Packard, and I was going through the resume and I was just wondering, like, she's worth $3 billion. So I'm saying, out of all the, see ati Kenya ni nchi mbaya, but out of all the ambassadors who have been there in Kenya, why would a 67-year-old woman who's worth $3 billion, who has been the CEO of Fortune 500 companies, want to go and be an ambassador back home? Akutaka France or something, somewhere else where, because she's 67. I'm sure she won't want to go and stay in Kenya for a couple of years. I was just assuming the best, that she loves Kenya and she wants to help us, but I know there's a lot of geopolitical and neocolonial puppeteering going on, and I think, like Ali said, I think the next wars in the world will be through proxy wars. So it's not going to be at US na Russia wanatupiana mabombs. They'll use other countries, the smaller countries kama Kenya, since now we are a NATO ally. And I think one of my Kale brothers alikuwa na ringa hiyo like it's an accomplishment by Ruto. Ati now au kuona amefanya tukue na NATO ally. Nikasema unajisikia, do you think that's going to help us? Do you think we want to be a NATO ally in Africa? And honestly, I mean, we live in this country. It's a great country, but they have their own motives and they love to work in the shadows. And another thing is they're always very tactical in how they approach things. And I honestly think their number one then the number one case that they go for, the number one people they're fighting for is themselves in Europe and how to extract the raw materials we have in Africa at the lowest possible cost. I think I was reading the other day that Congo has I think 2 trillion worth of resources that haven't even been discovered. The lithium and I think the cobalt that we use on our devices and any other resources that they have in Congo is still in there, that it's worth 2 trillion, that we can even build, that can build the whole of Africa overnight if we actually extract it the way the UAE and the Saudis have done. But it's easier for them to just keep it cheap, keep us divided, keep us in civil wars, or just get an incompetent puppet that can just do their dirty work for them. And I think that's what's happening back home. And they have found this system where Ruto used with using the churches and making sure the churches are quiet, because I mean Kenya is mostly a Christian nation. So if the big churches and the big bishops stand and say, vijana mwachane na maandamano, it's not right to. I don't condone any violence, but instead of listening to our pains and criticizing the government in any way, wanasema tu poleni, but musiende, don't go to the streets, like achana na maandamano, because they know on Sunday a big lump of cash is coming there, which is big lump of cash is coming their way, which is the citizens' taxes. So it's a whole big mess that it will take a while to tackle, and I know we have already been here for a couple of hours. It's so many issues going back home. So,
I was going to say those proxy wars are like how the Northlands were invaded. But
and when you talk of proxy wars and you talk about that being the future, it's actually the present. Do you know where a proxy war is being fought right now? Sudan.
Yes.
Sudan is a total proxy war.
Very
Russia is there. America is there.
But they're using
they're using other people. And now there's proxies of proxies. So it's not even America giving them weapons directly. It's Jui Marani, UAE Mara and Saudi Arabia. It's a very complex web. But in this Gen Z world, there are people out there on YouTube who are breaking down everything. There are no secrets anymore. In fact, that's the reason why even America, these little games they play, you know, like in using someone else, there are people who are breaking this thing down frame by frame on everything that's happening, be it, you know, like the weapons that are being used to kill Palestinians, you know, like what Americans did in Sudan, you know, like and the fact that Russians wanted to build a base there, but Americans don't want them to have that base. You know, it's a total mess. So that's something that we have to be prepared for, and we have to be very careful about. So when you're here singing that, oh, we've been made NATO allies, you are gonna be on the crosshairs of powers like Russia, and those guys can turn us into dust if we're not careful.
And within a very short time, say is, I'm sorry, or we'll send some aid.
Yeah, that's what they'll say. We'll send some aid.
And the good Bible says that. Let me quote President's good book. My people are dying because of lack of knowledge. We don't have knowledge.